welcome to our January Tech Insider, our quarterly rapid fire event, where each of our teams brings you the most important things to know with Microsoft technologies. What's happened, what's happening now, and what's coming next. All right, let's get started officially. As a reminder, this is a rapid fire event, so there's going to be a lot of information coming at you. Think of this as a warm-up for our in-person event coming up on February 29th, Business Technology Summit. And also just a reminder, we are recording this session to send out to you later, so just be aware of that. Also, feel free to pop questions in the chat at any time, and we will have a Q&A at the end. We also will have a survey at the end where you'll be eligible to win a $100 Amazon gift card. These surveys help us improve these Tech Insider updates over time so that we can always be providing useful information and a good experience to you. All right, so here's a little background about us. JourneyTEAM has been around since 1993, so we've enjoyed over 30 years in teaming up with organizations like yours to achieve better outcomes through technology. As a certified Microsoft partner, we're always growing to better offer solutions to our clients. And here are some of the awards and recognition we've received over the years, including achieving a place in Microsoft's Inner Circle for the past 2 years running, which only the top 1% of Microsoft partners achieve. And this is where JourneyTEAM can most assist with Microsoft technologies. You'll notice that's the full stack, including newer technologies like AI and Copilot. And here are our presenters. I'm your host, Shay Drake, Marketing Director here at JourneyTEAM. And with me, we have many of our experts here to go over each of their expertise. So starting us off will be Brandon Gorton, head of our CRM team, followed by Brian Gott with our finance and supply chain team. And then we've got Jim Hill with our business intelligence team, followed by Jesse Olson with our ERP team, then Alex Ryan, head of our Azure team, followed by Eric Ruff over our modern work and security team, and wrapping us up will be Brandon Reed with our support team. And now I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to Brandon Gorton.
Thanks, Shay. Today I'm going to be talking about two new features, new-ish features to the dynamic sales experience inside of Dynamic CRM. So those features include SMS as well as Copilot summaries. So the SMS capabilities have been something that's been long asked for from customers, and it used to require a lot of custom development to be able to create a wizard-like or a chat-like experience to have SMS capability inside of Dynamics. Now it is native. So I'm going to be going through as far as what those capabilities look like, how you can get value out of them, and what are all the different opportunities you have as far as how can you use it and what's important to you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my video recording here. And as you can see is that I just have Dynamic CRM pulled up. I'm in the Sales Hub application, and you can see I'm just on a contact record. This capability works on the lead, contact, account, and opportunity records. So there's a couple things that are a little bit different when you have SMS configured for your environment. So first of all, from the timeline, I can actually see my message transcripts. So what it'll do is it'll group messages by a period of time. And even though I might have a long running conversation with the customer, I can still see that conversation broken down into specific segments, and I can see that from the timeline. So at a quick glance, I don't need to open up the message control on the right. I can just go to the timeline. I can see bits and pieces of my SMS conversation. How I open up the control on the right is I just click the message icon next to a phone number. It is picky as far as the formatting, so make sure your phone numbers are formatted correctly to work for this. And as you can see, it opens up the wizard on the right, and I can see a bunch of different messages. And what I'm going to point out here is that you can see a status in the bottom right corner of those messages. So some of those messages have not been sent, meaning that there was some sort of error. I know a lot of times customers want that ability that they want to know, are their messages actually going out and are they being received? So you can see that directly from the screen. Some other capabilities that you can see is that it'll group it by the different phone numbers and the recipients. So that can, that's obviously really nice to know. And then at that top widget, you can select all the different related records and or see the related conversations to this Brandon Demo Gorton contact record. So in that dropdown, I saw a bunch of leads and opportunities. I can see all that information right from where I'm at. I can also select a specific message, and just like you can move activities around inside a CRM from the contact record to the lead to the opportunity, you can do that same capability with individual specific text messages. So I could select it and I can move it to a different record if I wanted to. There is emoji support, so you can use all your favorite emojis, and there are also text message templates. So if your sales reps and or those users using the system, if they're using the same type of message formatted in a specific way, you can still use that capability. And here you can also see that you can have multiple providers set up in your environment. You can, and in this case, I have Twilio and Telesign set up. One of my phone numbers had the little group icon. That means is that you can have personal phone numbers associated to your sales reps and or customer service reps or whoever else you have in the system. And you can also have group phone numbers. So you could be very specific where you could have, hey, this is our customer service team, and they're going to be sending out messages with that phone number, but you can also have individual ones. So that's a quick run through of all the, a snapshot of all the capabilities as far as this new SMS control and how you have it configured. You really just set it up with, you could hook it up to Azure Communication Services, Telesign, Twilio, and a couple other providers. And the cost is, with those providers, it's $1 for a phone number for some of them, and text messages are really, really cheap. So really cool. The next thing that I'm going to cover is related to Copilot summaries. So Copilot is Microsoft's AI engine, and it has capabilities across all the different modules inside of the dynamic stack. So in this case, I'm going to be showing a new feature that Copilot has within the sales experience and in the Sales Hub. So I will go ahead and I will start this video. And you can see that I'm in the Sales Hub. I'm on an opportunity that I called Opportunity Summaries. This was created just for this, right? So it's a brand new opportunity record. I didn't even fill in all of the data. So this was created. I filled in my required fields. And when I open up the Copilot control on the right, you can see I'm getting a lot of information here. It is giving me a summary of what the data looked like on my record when I created it, as well as data that I changed. So I created the record and then quickly updated it in a number of fields. And you can see that all listed here. It's showing me as far as in blue, the data that's hyperlinked, as well as the data that's bolded as far as data that has changed in my system. So at a glance, I could be managing an opportunity in my system, and if I needed to provide any type of summary or update to somebody else on my team or to my manager or to a leader, I can easily grab this information and provide it to them. I don't need to actually go and type it out on the keyboard myself to come up with what that summary looks like for this deal and what help and support that I need to be able to close it. I can merely use Copilot to be able to summarize this record and provide that information to those that need it. So really cool, some time-saving opportunities here, pun intended, since we're talking about opportunity summaries. And I think that there's a lot of value. And again, Copilot comes standard. It is available in the Sales Enterprise licenses. So if you have a Sales Enterprise license, these features are ready for you to be used ASAP. And the next thing that I wanted to do is cover some of our offerings. So for example, Sales Copilot, we have a app source offering where we can kind of help you kind of set it up and what that looks like, how to use it with the Outlook integration. There's some other features such as enhanced collaboration via Outlook and Teams, advanced meeting analytics, employee satisfaction improvement, as far as what Copilot offers, cost and time savings, and so on and so forth. So if you have any questions and you're interested in learning a little bit more about Copilot and kind of what the value proposition is for you, please let us know, and we are happy to help.
Thanks, Brendan. My name is Brian Gott, and I'll be talking today about Finance and Supply Chain Lite. I wanted to start by explaining what Finance and Supply Chain Lite is. It's not a new product from Microsoft. What it is it's a simplified configuration approach to implementing Microsoft's Dynamics Finance and Supply Chain. And the benefit of that is that it allows small to mid-sized businesses the flexibility to be able to get on the platform and start using it and grow into it. Ideal candidates for Supply Chain Lite would be, like I said before, small to mid-sized businesses who are growing and looking for a scalable ERP solution. Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Supply Chain is a full enterprise ERP platform. Businesses work in retail, distribution, and manufacturing, and people who really they're looking for something that where a third party independent software vendor just doesn't really fit their needs. And then also the key, I think, is looking for shorter implementation times, reduce costs, and stress on their teams. Some people shy away from F&O implementations because of that last point. Okay, these are some of the features included with F&O. The ones that most commonly I run into with clients are the ones I've highlighted there and start. Advanced warehousing is a big one, with all the shipping and picking functionality, including scanning. It covers the full gamut of manufacturing, so discrete, lean, and process manufacturing. Costing, all the different costing methods, including standard costing, and then of course material requirements planning, which is your supply and demand and how to respond to your demand effectively. What I want to do now is go into just a really simple demo. This is an environment that we set up for demoing, and in this particular environment, we don't have advanced warehousing set up. We went in and we did a really fast configuration. We just wanted to show you what picking a sales order would look like. So here I've got my sales order lines created, and I'm going to go ahead and create a pick list for my warehouse worker to go pick. I'm going to print that to screen just so you can see what it looks like. This is an out of the box report that you can print and then go pick off the shelves. It tells you the quantity is the item, the location you need to pick it from. Once that's printed, the warehouse worker will go pull the items off the shelf, box it, and then they would go in and they would close out the picking list with the items that they picked and complete it. And here, just doing that. And then when we get done with this, the next thing would be they would go back into the sales order, and they would then post the packing slip for this, put the packing slip on the box, and ship the product. I didn't edit this video at all. I just wanted to do it in real time so you could just see how much time it would really take for somebody to do something like this. Another thing I wanted to call out is that these reports are standard reports that come within the system. Your packing slips, your picking lists as well. And the nice thing to do with the sales order would just be to invoice it. There you go. Okay, so now just have a hard time getting out of this. There we go. Okay. That being said, what I'd like you to do is if supply chain Lite is something that you'd be interested in, I'd like you to invite you to go to our website and take our free size fit analysis. And what that does is it helps capture key components of your business, and it helps us evaluate with you what an implementation would look like and what you would need to be able to get off the ground. And this, sorry. This right here is an example of some of the questions you'd run into when you take that analysis. We're also going to be presenting at the upcoming Business Technology Summit. We'd like you to come join us. We'll have a booth there. We'll run a booth of a table where we can answer some of your questions, and we're going to be doing 2 presentations that day. One on supply chain Lite. We're going into a deeper dive on the functionality there and what you can do with it. And we're also going to be talking about how supply chain management, specifically F&O, can help strengthen your business processes. Now I'm going to turn the time over to Jim. He's going to talk about with the BI team, talk about Power BI.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate the handoff. I'm excited today to talk a little bit about some of the new features in Power BI and to give you kind of an introduction to Fabric. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so here are the things that I'm gonna cover today. We'll talk about some brand new features. Power BI gets new capabilities released almost every month. We'll talk about a couple of those. Then we're going to spend some time discussing Fabric. What is it? What does it offer to Power BI users? And what are some things you can do to prepare now to take advantage of Fabric? So the first new feature that I wanted to highlight is one called on-object interaction. This is when on an individual visual, there's a flyout that allows you to change the settings associated with that particular visual. There's a lot of different visuals from Power BI. This lets you do it right on top of the visual instead of jumping over to the right to where the visualization pane is. It is still in preview. You have the ability to add it by going to the File menu in Power BI, opening up that Options menu, and then selecting the specific preview button, turning on object orientation. Once you do this, you probably also need to restart Power BI for it to take effect. So it's a good thing. Turn it on, play with it, see if you like that new feature. There's also two new visualizations that I wanted to highlight. These also, like mentioned, these have already come out for those of you that are automatically getting updates on Power BI. And you'll notice down in the bottom left corner of your visualization pane, there's two new icons that have little lightning bolts on them. The first one I want to talk about is a new card visual. That new card visual lets you format your cards with a lot more options than you could in the past. You can even use images in the background of those card visuals, change the style, some nice new features. The other one I really like is a new slicer visual. This gives you a lot more control when you're using buttons in that slicer. So you have the ability to control how the default functionality looks, what happens when you hover or select. And also it has the ability to set up the layout and choose how many rows of buttons you want and what happens with the scrolling or the spacing. And then finally, you can adjust the shape of those buttons. There's a lot of cool new features in there. You can actually use one called nipped tab, which kind of cuts off some of the corners, or you could actually put images in the background. So start playing with those new features and see what you like. Now I want to switch gears. Another big announcement that took place back in November is Fabric became general availability. So now you can actually sign up, get licensing, and start taking advantage of Fabric. You've seen the new icon. This is what Fabric is according to Microsoft, and that's way too wordy. So I boiled this definition down to just a few things. It becomes a single platform, one place where you can go manage data movement, real-time analytics, and also business intelligence through the Power BI platform. It also has services included, data lake capabilities, data engineering, and data integration. So if we look at those functions, this is a diagram that shows all those pieces. So those of you in your organization that have been using Data Factory up on Azure, it's built into the One Lake, into the Fabric. Also, a whole bunch of Synapse capabilities are there for data engineering, data science, data warehousing, and even real-time analytics. Of course, Power BI is a part of the Fabric framework, and there's some new capabilities with a tool called Data Activator. The capabilities in Power BI to trigger certain things to happen when data changed is much more robust and with much more features and capabilities with Data Activator. And of course, all of those sit on top of One Lake, which is the storage platform that's associated with Fabric. All right, so what are those things? Why should you consider Fabric? One, it's now a unified platform for all your data estate. It lets you manage some of the powerful capabilities of AI in your models. It lets you innovate faster and empower every user to get more value out of their data. And it creates a platform where you can better govern and protect your data. So if these things sound important to you, then you want to consider learning more about Fabric and starting to move in that direction. So what does Fabric offer to the Power BI user? So faster refresh and save times. It brings to the table Copilot capabilities where people can auto build reports based off just how the data is structured in that semantic layer. It has all of the Synapse capabilities plus Data Activator. It creates one place for your data scientists, and it'll help them accelerate their work because they don't have to extract data, create new data sets. They can work directly with the data sets that are on the platform. And then additional AI capabilities are available through Fabric. All right, last slide. I just wanted to say, what should you do now to prepare for Fabric? First of all, start learning about and using the Fabric platform. So a lot of resources online you can go look at to get that process started. You also need to discuss as a team how you're going to handle your data engineering tasks. Who's going to perform that? Now that it's integrated on one platform, you need to make some decisions on who's going to do what. Standardize and document your business terms and business logic. To be able to take the full capability of Fabric and implement it, you need to have good, clean models, and that starts with good data. So you want to make sure that you get those business terms firmed up. And data governance is important too. Who owns those definitions? How are they maintained? Start talking about who in your organization should be driving the governance of your data assets. And then, as I mentioned, make sure you've got good, clean data sources. The better your data sources are, the better results you'll have as you start moving to Fabric. So there's a link here in the presentation that will take you to a page that talks about an offering that we have called a data strategy roadmap. This is a really good way for you to put together a plan for where you need to go with your data assets. And we hope that you go and explore that, and then you can go ahead and book access to our resources, and we'll help you work on Fabric. All right, so that's the end of my presentation on some new features. We would really like to have you participate in the upcoming Business Technology Summit. There's longer classes on what Fabric is. We'd love to have you come and participate. Now I'm going to hand off to Jesse Olson from our ERP team to take it from here, and we're going to kind of tag team in this next section. So Jesse, it's all yours.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jim. All right, so what I'm going to be talking to you about today is what we call our Power BI template app. It is a kind of a pre-built configuration to utilize Power BI for some of the reporting capabilities to get your data out of your ERP, Business Central. So kind of just highlighting, some of the major benefits of utilizing a Power BI solution over the out-of-the-box reports you get from Business Central. You're going to get a lot more flexibility to kind of slice and dice your data, building different presentations, visualizations, dashboards, those types of things. You've got a lot of opportunities inside of Power BI. It is going to expose that key information for decision-making processes. You've got the ability to drill down, and so if you're seeing a number that looks questionable, or you just want to get more insight to the data behind that, you are going to be able to drill down through this Power BI template app. With it being Power BI, it is going to be set up on a scheduled refresh. And so, you can have the Power BI reports just automatically refreshing on, whatever interval makes the most sense for your company. And so typically, historically, you'd have to generate the financial reports. You'd have to, distribute them, whether it's through email or a OneDrive. And doing this through Power BI eliminates that because everything is just going to be, updated based on that scheduled refresh. Another big component of Business Central is the dimensions. Pretty much every one of our clients that are utilizing Business Central are getting a lot of value out of these dimensions. And so we did kind of pre-program those into the Power BI template app. So those are user-defined. One client's dimensions may be completely different than another client's dimensions, but all of those will be pulled into that Power BI template app. It also works across multiple companies. And so if you've got, separate FEIN numbers that are all working out of Business Central, this is kind of a one-stop shop for all of those reports. And then we've got it on AppSource for a monthly or yearly subscription. We're still trying to kind of work out some of the kinks with Microsoft. I don't know if you are aware, but it is quite a process to get anything on Microsoft's AppSource. And so we are still trying to comb through some of those weeds, but we are very close to that finish line. I want to provide a little bit of context on, how the Power BI template app works. So, we are going to have basically two main solutions. You've got your Business Central finance report template app, and then we've got a BC extension that will be installed into Business Central. So first, the Power BI workspace, we have to install the report template app that will go into your Power BI workspace. That's going to create your semantic model, the reports, and it's also going to publish an app. Then on the Business Central side, this is where we will take that extension, an app file that is built through AL code, that will be deployed into your Business Central database, into the extensions page, and then that is going to push back for the model refresh on the Power BI workspace. So that's kind of just how everything works together as far as, these other solutions all combining and talking to each other. Kind of looking at some of the available report pages we've got. So there is an executive summary page. We've got a balance sheet page. We've got a trial balance. And here's kind of the full list. You're going to be able to see your common reports, balance sheet, income statement. You've also got some of your common aging reports for your aged AP and your aged AR. You can also look at GL entries. So these are just some of the different report pages that are going to be exposed through that Power BI template app. All right, Jim, I'm going to let you kind of control this part of it. This is a pre-recorded kind of demo that Jim was able to build. Do you want me to go ahead and just hit the play on this?
Sounds great. Thanks, Jesse. All right, I'm just going to take you through a quick overview so you can see what this looks like. In the page, there's a home page that lists all of the report pages with a definition of what each one is. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see if you have multiple companies, you can choose which companies are included in the report model. So we're just going to jump to the executive summary page. So this is an overall roll-up or aggregation of your thing. It shows income, net margin, accounts payable, and then some trend lines below to show you how things work. On the left, you can select one or more companies, and it will roll up your data. You also can adjust the time frame, so now you can see more years of data. If you have multiple budgets, you can choose which budget to use. And then we have this cool dimension set filtering capability. So you can choose one of your dimension sets, and then below, filter according to that particular dimension set. So here we're looking at small business, medium business, and so forth. And all of those filters apply across multiple pages so you can see how this works. Now, every finance person wants a good balance sheet. This is your balance sheet page. It lets you adjust the time frame, so you can look at months or quarters or years. And the cool thing is over here on the left, you can choose which rows appear. So right now we have 3 different levels of hierarchy, and I can choose with using a control key to turn off one and choose a different row. So we choose account number, and now you can see the account number detail. Now, if you want to drill into the details, if you click on a particular number, you notice that there's a drill through button that shows up in green. When you click on that, it will take that filter context and jump to the general ledger entries page. And this page shows you the details from what you selected. You can add other columns to this. So we added posting date, and this gives you a way to explore your general ledger. If we jump back over the income statement page, it works very much the same as the balance sheet. Again, you can choose which rows you have, and you have the same filters. We have a trial balance page. The neat thing about this is it not only lets you select the rows, but you can also select columns. So you can see if I wanted to get rid of one of these columns, I could take out net change and it disappears from the columns. I could add in one of the others and they would show up on the page as well. So we also have an aged accounts payable. It breaks out your accounts payables in time age buckets. And you have the same ability to drill through to detail here. So if I want to choose this Lisa Awesome Office Supplies, I can drill through and I can see all of the account payable records that are available or that are associated with that time period. And there's a back button that can take you back to the page. The aged accounts receivable works exactly the same way. You can drill through to detail from this as well. And then the final page is one called General Ledger by Company. This is if you have multiple companies, gives you the ability to see them all at once and also adjust the time frame if you need to. And then you can select a particular point in time. This is an asset point, and now I can drill through back to the general ledger page and see those particular assets for that point in time. So, and back will take you back to the page. So that's a quick run through of what it looks like. We'd love to have you take advantage of these great Power BI reports. And I'm going to go ahead now and turn the time back over to Jesse.
Okay. You never thought you'd learn this much about accounting systems, did you, Jim? Okay, so just to call out, kind of next steps, if this is something you'd be interested in, or, you're looking for more information, the deployment process of this is very simple. Just reach out to us directly. There's really, those two solutions that need to get deployed, one into the Power BI workspace, and then one into the Business Central tenant. From there, you just kind of give us the green light. We get those installed. It takes a little while for all the data to get synced and connected. Usually from start to finish, we can get it done in a couple hours. And so if there's any concerns, any questions, you guys want some more insights, definitely just let us know, and we can get you started down that path. So that's all we've got for the ERP. I am now going to turn it over to Alex so he can talk to you from the Azure side.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, good morning, maybe afternoon for some. Today, I'm thrilled to share the insights on the transformative impact of Azure AI and machine learning and how it's reshaping the business world. Go ahead and pop over to the next slide here. So we're at the brink of a new era where artificial intelligence truly isn't this buzzword or a fun thing out of a sci-fi movie, but it really is a key driver of business innovation and efficiencies. This transformative technology is really enabling companies to automate complex processes, gain deeper insights from their data, and create more personalized customer experiences. By integrating Azure's powerful AI and machine learning capabilities, businesses are now unlocking new opportunities. They're enhancing their decision making, and they're staying ahead in this crazy competitive market. Potential of AI in transforming industries and redefining the way we think and how we work is truly immense. It's making it an essential tool for any forward-thinking organization looking to kind of thrive in today's business landscape. So let's go ahead and dive into let's look a little closer at use cases and how Azure AI is being implemented in different sectors, really. So we're kind of seeing it like in healthcare. AI is revolutionary. It's helping with early disease detection. Algorithms are analyzing medical images such as X-rays or CT scans and identifying diseases such as cancer much earlier than we've previously been able to do it. It's crucial for effective treatment, and also it's sometimes even more effective than the naked eye or that of a doctor. So it's really helping out in the medical world. In the field of manufacturing, AI has driven predictive maintenance and minimizes downtimes of, anticipating when a machine's going to break, occurring or finding the failures before they happen to help you not have downtime in your business. But in every instance, Azure AI isn't just solving problems, it's truly uncovering opportunities. That's what I always like to say. It's not solving a problem, it's finding an opportunity. For instance, by processing your real-time data from Jim's and Jesse's data here, we can use that data from like sensors of machinery or companies, not only preventing the costly repairs, but also improving their operational workflows and the quality of products being produced. Azure's AI ability to process and kind of learn from real-time data, it translates into proactive decision-making and strategic foresight. So by leveraging this predictive analytics, or businesses can anticipate market trends or how customers are going to behave, even potential supply chain disruptions. The preemptive power kind of extends past just the cost savings. It cultivates a business environment that really is ripe for innovation, and it's ready to capitalize on emerging opportunities. Furthermore, Azure AI, they have tons of insights that help enable companies to refine their product designs, their service offerings, making sure that you not only remain relevant, but also preferred in the eyes of your customers. As we've seen, Azure AI is truly like a catalyst for significant change across a plethora of industries. It's not just about automating tasks or analyzing the data. It's really about driving your business's innovation and unlocking those new opportunities and enabling your organizations to lead with confidence in your respective fields. We see a lot of companies leveraging Azure AI and they're positioning themselves as forefront or bellwethers of their industry. By embracing Azure AI, businesses can empower their workforce, optimize operations, tailor experiences to meet your ever-evolving demands of your customers. It's more than a technological advancement. It's truly a strategic partner in your journey towards business excellence. With that, in conclusion of this, the age of AI is truly here. People have been saying it, but I think we're at a point where truly we're in a place where it's not a matter of if I'll adopt AI, it's a matter of when I will adopt AI. From enhancing those customer experiences, projecting the future trends, I feel Azure AI is the partner in navigating the complexities of this ever-evolving world. So I invite you to join us in this journey and help leverage the power of Azure AI to redefine what's possible for your business. And I thank you all for your time today, and truly, I look forward to discussing how AI could potentially, specifically benefit your organization. I'd love to schedule a meeting with all of you to explore that potential together. And I truly believe, future's here, and it's powered by Azure AI. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Eric Roth to talk about Microsoft 365.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alex. That was great. So I've got a bunch of great content to cover here, so let's jump into it. To begin with, there's a new little filter in Entra ID that allows you to filter your conditional access policies by actor. Actor is basically who the policy is applied to or who it's targeted to. So if you got a bunch of CA policies, that'll be a quick little way to better filter down and find that policy you're looking for. A few quick updates here. As of June 30th of this year, if you're using Entra ID Connect or the old Azure AD Connect group right back version 2, that is going away. Microsoft is moving that functionality into the Entra ID Connect Cloud Sync service. You can run those side by side, so you don't have to move everything over to the new Cloud Sync engine. But be aware, if you're using Group Write Back v2, this applies to you, and you're going to have to make a change. Okay. Azure AD B2C service is moving into Entra ID external IDs. This is a big deal. If you're using that SIAM Consumer Identity and Access Management service from Microsoft, they're merging those together with the standard enterprise identity components of Entra ID, and that's in public preview today. GA is coming soon. I'll put quotes around that. So be aware of that. If you're using B2C, you definitely want to know about that. We have seen a crazy rise in what we call adversary in the middle attacks. Brandon, who's going to talk to us a little bit, he's going to go more into that. So just a plug for that. Pay attention to what he's got to share. Another great new little feature here, if you have a user that's at a user risk state, according to Entra ID, according to all the signals that Microsoft gives about this user, and they reset their password from Active Directory, that of course syncs up. And now there's a setting you can enable to have that clear or reset the user at risk state. So a simple little enablement there that you'll find helpful. That way they can get back into their account because their password has been changed through AD. Okay. All right, jumping over to conditional access policies. Everyone is probably starting to see this, so be aware of this. Microsoft is doing a good thing here. They're deploying a conditional access policy. They call them Microsoft managed policies into your tenant. These are not enabled by default, but they will be coming soon. You have a timer of when these show up in your tenant of when Microsoft will turn these on. And so if you just ignore them and do nothing, and you don't have other CA policies, this will affect you. If you already have CA policies because you've worked with us or you're doing good things, likely these won't affect you because you already have policies that are doing these things today. But be aware that these things are coming into tenants. Okay, there's a screenshot there of a couple of them. JourneyTEAM has an updated break glass playbook. It can help protect against tenant takeover. I have an acquaintance that called me one day and says, "Can you help? I have no access to my tenant." Bad actor got into the tenant, removed all their admin access, and literally took over the tenant. It took him a week to get it back. We have a playbook that can detect that behavior happening in your environment and automatically undo it and restore your administrative access to that. So we've wrapped that all into our new break glass playbook. So be aware of that. It's super helpful. When you need it, you need it. And then another plug, if you don't have Azure Log Analytics enabled and your Entra ID and Intune logs going to that place, you really need that. You can retain your logs much longer than the default 30 or even 7 days that you get with Entra ID, and it gives you significantly better data to validate and understand what's happening in your environment. So I highly recommend that. Authentication context. This is a big new thing coming out of Entra ID. It basically gives you more granular controls about what types of MFA or authentication you need for different use cases. So this is an example of if I'm making conditional access policy changes or enabling or disabling those, I have to be at a certain level of authentication or phishing resistant, for example. So you build these authentication contexts and you can apply those to a conditional access policy. Another example is if you have a specific SharePoint site that you need to have a certain level of security at, then you can apply that to this authentication context. It's a neat new feature. Quick updates on Exchange Online. If you're still on Exchange 2019, mainstream support has officially ended as of January 9th. We're now in extended support for that. And if you still have Exchange servers in your environment that are not updated and out of date patch-wise, Microsoft is throttling the amount of mail that those things will route. We have seen this affect customers. So get your Exchange server either updated or let us help you get off of that altogether. There's some exciting things coming this year out of Microsoft that's going to help with that as well. SMTP authentication. Microsoft turned off legacy authentication, a year ago now. Very good thing, except they left a nice little hole here called SMTP authentication. We see these all over the place. If you don't want these to affect your lockout of users, then you need to block that in the Exchange policies. You do that through PowerShell. There's a quick couple of commands there, how to see and set your authentication policy in Exchange Online PowerShell. And then these don't even appear in your Entra ID sign-in logs for failed user logins. Super nice. M365 Copilot, more Copilot. Alex did a great update on kind of where Azure AI is and what that's coming. That is coming now. It is now released for general availability. There's no minimum seat requirement. That was a big blocker earlier. It is an add-on SKU. You do have to have one of these defined SKUs in your environment to be able to add on the M365 Copilot. We highly recommend that you start with a zero trust engagement and an information architecture conversation to make sure that Copilot really provides the value that you need from it. And you do need to pay for 1 year up front. This is not a month-to-month license like we're traditionally used to for our other M365 licenses. You have to deploy it to all users in a department. Don't just give it to one person. This is a good tool to help see and understand how people interact with each other and share content with each other. And it really enables those department and work group collaboration together. And we have a whole session on BTS, our Business Technology Summit, coming up, where we go into this Copilot much deeper. So if you want to learn more, come to that. All right, quick update on SharePoint Online. SharePoint Embedded. If you have an application and you need a place to store data for that application, files or something, there's a really slick API-based way to store that data inside a SharePoint site collection. And this is a great thing for developers that need a place to put good data and don't want to stick it in a database or need the functionality of SharePoint storage. And to know if you have these in your tenant, you can run this SharePoint PowerShell commandlet get SPO container type. And you may or may not have these in your environment. So be aware of that use case. It's super helpful for specific scenarios. And a quick shout out to SharePoint Premium. It's a new service for Microsoft. There's a ton of things in SharePoint Premium. One of the biggest things that I like about SharePoint Premium is it significantly helps you prepare for Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and getting the benefits of that relative to all the content that you have in SharePoint and how that is going to align and enable your Copilot experience. So there's too much to talk about for SharePoint Premium, but be aware there's a new service out of Microsoft 365 around SharePoint called SharePoint Premium that offers a bunch more advanced capabilities on the SharePoint platform. Teams client, new Teams client is coming soon. If you do nothing, your users will be required to use the new Teams client as of March 31st. That's a month away. Okay, you can control that, but you have to go push buttons to make that happen. It's in the Teams Admin Center, so be aware of that coming down the pipe. Last but not least, Intune. I've been waiting this for years. There's now native Mac OS integration for Intune and device authentication. That means I can log natively into my Mac OS with my Entra ID credentials. Super excited about that. Let us know if you need help setting it up. The documentation could use some help. And a new feature coming that's a really big deal, Windows 365 boot. So you can be on a really thin client and boot up, and it can basically connects to your cloud-hosted Windows 365 VM, allowing you to have a really light, thin machines that then boot into the cloud, if you will, from that ecosystem. So super nice feature there. And with that, I will hand it over to our illustrious Brandon Reeve, who's going to talk to you about some adversary in the middle of things. So take it away, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rolf. One of our more common conversations with Rolf and I revolves around security, and phishing commonly is at the top of those. So we wanted to help you as our customers feel more comfortable with conversations around phishing and what we can do to resolve some of those kind of concerns. So this is an account called Diego from Elapora. This is just a test account on a demo environment. Diego apparently was running late to a meeting, and a known client of his sent him an email with a link in it. He didn't review the link. Obviously, it's very fake, but he clicked on it anyways. And when he saw that he got his authenticator approval, he felt like that was a safe login. When he logged into this, he was directed to his normal Microsoft account, and there was no red flags. This is exactly what phishing and AITM in the middle attacks look like. The only difference is these URLs are a lot more convoluted than this. They're not going to say fake anywhere. They're going to be very similar to your normal login.microsoft.com. The only difference is they might be login.microsoft.net or something else that's very easy for hackers to buy. So in these slides, I want to show you kind of the difference between this login and with a actual phishing resistant methodology that Rolf talked about earlier with conditional access, FIDO2 keys, and Windows Hello for Business. So from the hacker's point of view, this is an AITM attack. So this is Evil Jinx. This kind of shows how it's a proxy and it's a go-between between your login and Office.com or Office 365. The attacker is able to actually intercept your session cookies, which allows them to act on your account. It's very scary. We'll get to that in just a little bit longer. But there's a lot of, it's a completely open source tool, and there's a lot of people out there that are using it. There's over 35 billion emails a year that are phishing related that are sent to Microsoft users. So we definitely just have to be on the lookout for these and know that these AITM attacks are probably coming into your tenant as we speak. So you just have to know first how to look for them, and then two, if we can roll you into a phishing resistant policy, then that's probably the best method that keeps you protected in case you do miss a URL. So behind the scenes, this is one of the most interesting parts. This is Diego, and it shows his username. his password. His authentication method is the phone app notification. So it's just like your Microsoft Authenticator. And I can show it on my camera, but just your normal Microsoft Authenticator. And this shows that Evil Jinx has actually intercepted all of those tokens. But what I mean by tokens is either it's the session or the cookie that is generated when you log into your Microsoft account. They get that in their tool, and then they're able to copy that into their browser. And basically, when they refresh their page and they go back to office.com, they are in as that person. So you can see that this is the hacker's point of view. He is logged in as Diego, our test user, and he's off and rolling as that person. So as I mentioned, that is an app-based notification, such as Microsoft Authenticator, something that we've been harping on customers to go to for years. Until now, it is still a great authentication method, but there's starting to be holes in it. And that's the way that security kind of goes. We have to catch up. And so Microsoft Authenticator is still a great authentication method, but for phishing resistance, such as Evil Jinx and AITM attacks, it's not cutting it anymore. 2FA methods like SMS and email, those should have already been outdated, and complex passwords, those should be outdated as well. So these traditional methods are no longer considered phishing resistant. The only true way to be sure right now, if you're using one of these methods, is to verify your URL is login.microsoft.com. If you make sure that that's the URL that you're signing into at every sign-in, you can't get phished on these. But if it's a different URL and it's something that's spoofed or it's illegitimate, if you log in and you use one of these methods, there's a high chance that they can steal that session. Some of the new phishing-resistant methods that are causing our industry to pivot are compliant device conditional access policies. These conditional access policies require you to log in from a compliant device in your tenant to any cloud app. So if you're in one of these policies, then it would force you to sign in from a computer in your tenant that's trusted. Windows Hello for Business is also configured by your tenant through mobile device management or group policy, and it's a CERT-based authentication method, as well as FIDO2 and passkeys. Those are public key cryptography, and passkeys they work the same as FIDO. They actually can be used on your Authenticator app on your phone, and you can also back those up in case you lose your phone and you need to get a new phone. You can recover those. It's the same type of technology as FIDO key, so it's a really great way to move forward as well. If Diego would have used one of those phishing resistant methods, this is what would have happened. With a compliant device policy, Microsoft would have seen the Evil Jinx server in the middle and would have said, I don't trust you, so we're not going to let you get in. With Windows Hello for Business, his Windows Hello wouldn't have actually been able to vet that URL, and it would have seen that it's not login.microsoft.com, and so it wouldn't have let him move forward with that login. Similarly to FIDO key, it wouldn't have been able to resolve his username, and this is kind of what a username looks like through Evil Jinx. And so you can tell that that hacker is not going to get anything from that username. So our modern working security team has a foundational identity analysis. This helps you to define the best authentication methods for your team. We realize that sometimes a combination or a mixture of some of these authentication methods work well as well. And they'll help you identify identity-related risks in your environment, and they'll help you identify a plan for a phishing-resistant migration. If you want to learn more about our foundational identity analysis, I would urge you to click here on the link or schedule a meeting to discuss the analysis with us. Appreciate y'all listening to me. I'm going to turn it back over to Shay.
Thanks, Brandon. And actually, thanks to everyone for sharing such great information. We will be sharing out these slides, the recording, and the link shared over email, so keep an eye out for that. And then really quick, I'd like to discuss a little bit more about Business Technology Summit. I know that we've mentioned it a few times here, but registration is open, and it's extra exciting because we're back in person this year in downtown Salt Lake City on February 29th, Leap Day. We get an extra day this year, so let's learn some amazing things. And to show appreciation for our community, this will be a free event. So click that link, scan the QR code, and then we are planning on having quite the party this year with good food, networking. We have some AI experience planned for you and more. So just reserve your spot today so that we know you're coming. And then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A. I just saw Gordon's comment about an unknown QR code after a security brief. Very good call out there. I promise this QR code goes to our registration. We did have a question in the chat from Gordon about, Eric, what level of licensing do people need for that CA device policy?
Entra ID Plan 1 will work just fine for that. Okay. So M365 E3 includes it, but bottom line is Entra ID Plan 1 will cover that for you. But therefore, you need an Intune license to be a compliant device. So the CA policy is technically enforced with a conditional access. That's an Entra ID Plan 1 license, but you really need an Intune license to have the device properly managed and marked as compliant, etc. So you got to have them both, really. Great question.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that. We also have our survey in the chat. So remember to take that survey for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. And then this one is for Alex. This is one that I get a lot when it comes to AI. What does that even look like in seeing how it can work for your business? Because AI is one of those things that's very, very broad, but it's also very specific at the same time. So Alex, if you could tell us a little bit about that, of like, how can you know how it can work for your team or your company?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great question. We get that all the time. And I think the best way to know if AI is going to work for you is truly just spin it up and try to play with it. Because there's truly a use case for everyone. It's just the feasibility of implementing it. AI can do simple things as be an admin and answer general questions, or it can do complex, statistical analysis based on your data. So typically what I like to tell, people that are looking to get into AI is let's just spin up an environment with the playground. It has all the tools built in Azure, and you can play with it, break it, do whatever you'd like. And it's very inexpensive to test, to know if you were going to find a use case that you can implement. On the flip of that, we also can gladly help you find things to implement or find use cases for your business and get a deeper understanding to understand what AI actually might be most beneficial to help you with.
Nice, awesome. Thank you for that. I believe we answered the rest of the questions along in the chat, but if you have any further questions, please let us know. We're more than happy to answer them via email. You can book time with us. We've dropped that link into the chat, or you can make it part of the survey experience, and we look at those and we reach out when necessary. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you spending your morning or afternoon with us, as it may be, and we'll see you next time.